Yes, that's us.
Hey, there you are. Now that's the background right there.
Man, how are you, Mario?
Good, brother. How you doing?
I'm perfect, man. Thanks for taking the time to come chat with me today.
No doubt.
As we're on a limited schedule, I'm just going to blast a few questions at you, and hopefully we get it all done within the time limit.
Let's do it.
Um, First question is, what inspired you to write the story, and then what spurred you on to then go on to direct and star in it?
I think that first of all, honestly, there's that I have a lot of my inner child in me, man. I'm still a boy. I still love horses and riding and playing make believe with the other kids on the block. So there's a part of me that it gets excited by being in it, not just being around it or watching it, but actually participating. I think that's part of it, honestly. The other part is that I had done a Western 30 years ago with my dad, and my dad was no longer with us. I didn't have kids then, and now my dad's no longer with us, but I do have my son. So I thought it was interesting bookending that I got to be the connective tissue paternally between my father and then my son. I realized the other day that I given my dad had given me, excuse me, my first lines ever in a movie, in a Western, not in a feature. And then I gave him his last lines ever in the feature. And that was kind of cool. So I kind of liked symmetry in a way. And I thought that,
Yeah.
America seems so divided right now. You got some of us watching MSNBC or CNN and some people watching Fox News, and we seem to don't have the same facts even. And I thought, well, in 1908 in the West, we were more divided than we are now. And yet the real West was very diverse. Almost one out of three, one out of four cowboys was black. Before women could vote, there were badass characters like Stagecoach Mary. And I thought, we never see characters like Stagecoach Mary, and play the real way, not in a glamorized, puffy version, but in a real, credible way. And I thought, I want to see some of these real gritty characters in a big, sprawling, kick-ass Western, but still have a little nutritional value, have a little bit of make not just entertainment, but entertainment. And show that even today and in 1908, our diversity can be an incredible strength.
And how the time for westerns now, do you not think is at its peak? There's sort of like the whole Yellowstone thing has brought westerns back. So if you had done this maybe like 6 years ago, westerns weren't really thought of then, so to speak. It was more superhero movies, but now the genre of like the western and sort of all them ones are coming back. So do you think you could go on again to maybe do some more westerns?
You know what? I there's something about it that I really enjoy. Uh, but again, I did it 30 years ago. But not only do you have some of the wonderful work that like Yellowstone and the Bass Reeves stuff, but you've got Beyonce sort of claiming her place in the country realm, and you've got Pharrell with his Western line of clothing. So you've got a lot of Western stuff in this sort of American zeitgeist right now, which is interesting. And I think the more that we, you know, people try to whitewash history, and the very name cowboys came from black people, right? That they were called black men boys, as a derogatory term. So you give them the crappy job, take care of that horse boy, take care of the chickens boy, take care of the cow boy. And when cowboys became glamorized, then Hollywood started portraying them as white. Even characters that were historically black were suddenly played as white. And white folks even came in and played the Native Americans. I mean, just straight up. So if you look at early Westerns, you'd see, the Mexican guy was the oily bandit who didn't need those stinking badges. The Chinese guy was the deferential houseboy Hop Sing. The black guy was sort of shuffling. The woman was pale, frail, and needed rescuing, and the only good Indian was dead. So if you were a person of color, it's depicted by Hollywood in the early years, you were kind of marginalized. But that was not the real deal. And even Eastwood, when I did Heartbreak Ridge with him, we talked about almost one out of three, one out of four cowboys being black. This is why he put Morgan Freeman in Unforgiven, right? So the Chinese built the railroad. Black folks were here building up America's wealth. The Native Americans, man, they did everything, So it's like, we all had a part in it. And I think that the more we take pride in it and understand the real West was a very diverse and wild place, then, and especially the place now in an election year, you can sort of go, let's take an honest look at where we were and see what we've overcome before. And like I said, see our diversity as a strength and figure it out. And maybe come together, maybe culture can be a little bit not only entertaining, but healing.
And what was it like as well? You have like a whole star, you have like a whole roster to this cast that's full of people. But what was it like getting to kick ass with Whoopi Goldberg?
So fun. Well, I didn't cast Whoopi in the movie. She cast herself. You know what I mean?
I believe that.
She was like, I'm playing this role. I'm like, I guess you are. But what I really enjoyed was having smart, accomplished, credible actors from Edward James Olmos to Whoopi Goldberg to Cedric the Entertainer to DC Youngfly to uh, Alan Payne from New Jack City, Emmett Walsh, Neil McDonough. So when you've got a cast of people, some of which have, who have big rosters, John Carroll Lynch, really sharp actors, it makes it so easy because then you're making a collaborative. It's not about my best ideas, it's about our best ideas. Even down to Mandela Van Peebles playing my on-screen son. He's had X amount of years practicing playing my son. He's also a cowboy, but it meant we could go in and do takes. We didn't have to fake the love. That's real. We didn't have to fake the conflict. That's also real. We had to reshape it for the movie, but it's all real. And then to at the end see the real characters on screen and go, whoa, we got pretty close to some of the real characters, and you see how they really look. And that's the fun of it, to go, wow, you think it's all fantasy, and then you go, wait a minute, actually, truth is actually sort of more fun and more interesting than fantasy, and a lot of it is real.
Before we wrap, I have two more questions for you, so I'm going to quickly fire them at you. Um, so you're like an old school action guy. I remember growing up just watching your movies. Brilliant. What was it like a couple of years ago getting to star with Scott Adkins in the movie Seized? Because he is sort of like the action guy of now. That must have been quite cool.
Yeah, he's very talented. He's got great moves. Um, I know this sounds cliche, but he feels like a nice human being. And I didn't get to know him well, and I was sort of playing a character that, for a great deal of the film, is an antagonist. And I took that role and did what I wanted with it, and twisted it, and had a lot of fun with it. I'm sure you could tell, you know.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but it was cool, and it like brings your game up. He's a great martial artist, and I think he's also a damn good actor. And I think that's sometimes when you're so good at martial arts, it can lead you down a path that makes it harder to get the kind of roles you just want to get as an actor. And I think he's actually a good actor.
And my final question for you would be, so you've proved you can write, you can direct, and you can star in a movie. So do you not think it's hitting that time now you do your sort of own sort of expendables thing and bring all these action guys together and deliver a proper solid action movie that we deserve?
You know what? There may be something to that. You figure it out, get the funding, and let me know.
I'll do my best on my end.
All right, all right, cool. But no, that would be a lot of fun. Again, but I particularly get a kick out of smart action. Something that has a little nutritional value. That we go. It's not just blowing
Yeah.
stuff up because we want to blow stuff up, but that's a part of it. But also saying, wait a minute, the bank robbery was a distraction from blowing up those munitions and rousting those natives. And here's why. When you start to put together, and the sheriff goes, Butch and Sundance were clever. They had some black guy and a big white guy working with them. Black and white working together in cahoots. Who could have seen that coming? Do you know what I mean? So when you say, diversity is the power of this, that's the fun of it too, right? Make them laugh, but also make them think a little bit.
Mario, it's been awesome chatting with you, man. Outlaw Posse is brilliant, and it's great just to see you kicking ass, though. Let's get you directing, starring in everything we can, man.
Thank you, brother.
And finally, if you had to sell Outlaw Posse to anyone watching or listening, what would your log line be?
I would say action adventure with a sense of humor, but with something to say. You know, a little bit of kick ass with a kick. Oh, it's like this. Someone hands you a fine bottle of Merlot. You drink it, but it turns out to be a Voltov cocktail. It's got a little kick in it. And I'd say this, because it's an independent, it's a tough independent, they've got to ask for it. They've got to go to their local theater and say, are you going to play Outlaw Posse? And those managers listen. So they're going to have to look for this a little bit. It's not going to be spoon-fed, oh, it's playing like every Marvel movie. No, you're going to have to go out and get it and pass the word, and that's it. And that's how we get more movies that say something with all Americans.
It's definitely a movie worth tracking down and watching. On the big screen, it would be an amazing experience, man. The man, the myth, the legend, Marion Van Peebles, and so glad you could have joined me today for a chat, man. It's been an honor.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.